This video is going to be about contralateral body movements in addition to how they impact our brain health. So contralateral movement refers to the coordinated movements of our limbs on opposite sides of the body. So it involves a specific pattern of movements where one side of the body moves while the opposite side either remains stable or moves in the opposite direction. So this helps to make connections in the sensory motor areas of our brain. And then this in turn communicates with our lower motor neurons in our brainstem and in our spinal cord. So these are also considered as cross-crawl exercises, and that refers to movements in which we are using opposition on each side of the body, like crawling. So when babies start to crawl, they develop that brain hemisphere integration. Same as like walking or swimming. We're doing two different things on opposite sides of the body. And then our brains are working to coordinate those movements. So therapeutically, what it's doing is it's building neurons and connection between the two hemispheres of our brain. So you might be wondering why that's important. So in a lot of diagnoses, such as PTSD, brain injury, depression, strokes, and other neurological diagnoses, we have a decrease in our two brain hemispheres connecting and communicating. So that means one hemisphere might be lighting up more than the other one. And what contralateral body movements does for us is it helps to improve our self-awareness. There's been research to show it helps with pain management. It can help with information processing and memory, impulse control, and physical coordination. Also, it's going to help prepare you for cognitive activities. Think about that. If you're going to do these movements right before a cognitive activity, you're getting both of your brain hemispheres to light up in preparation or readiness for that cognitive activity. So we're going to practice some of these. These contralateral body movements are something that you can do just while sitting down at home. You can do this in a wheelchair. You can do some of these at a desk. So here I'm going to position my camera so you can see me, and I'm going to scoot back a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose one side of the body and raise that arm up. And then we're going to lift the opposite side of the body, the leg. And then you can alternate that. And I recommend going slow and being intentional with that movement. And if you want to progress it and make it a little more challenging on your brain, you could even add in a third movement by shifting your head and your gaze to look at your hand or your arm. Or you could switch it and look down at the leg that's raising. So it's just adding in that little extra movement to add a little more complexity to the exercise. And they don't have to be extraneous, big gross motor movements. They could be micro movements, even just the hand and the foot. So my opposite foot is flexing up along with my hand. And then moving on to the next one, you can continue to do this seated, and you could just circle your arms and then kick, scoot back a little bit, and then kick opposite leg as you're circling your arms. So opposite sides of the body doing two different things. And then the next one is a little more challenging because it's not as much gross motor. We're going to do more fine motor here. So we're going to just use our hands on this one. So take one hand and have your thumb touch the pinky finger. And then take the other hand and have your thumb touch the pointer finger. So these are your starter positions for each hand. And your thumb is going to go down the line and alternate touching each finger, right? But you're going to do it on both sides. So your thumb is never touching the same finger. And then once you get to the end of the line, go backwards, and you end up right at your starter position again. So I like that one because it's a little more challenging with those fine motor finger movements. And then I'll show you a couple with standing. So I'll put my camera back here. And if your balance is not up to par one day, or if you're feeling like your balance is challenging you a bit, I would recommend doing this next to a wall so you can hold on to it, or you can use a stable chair. I would not recommend using a chair like this, so I'm not a good example today. So we're going to do the same activity we did in our seated position, but standing. So raising one leg as you raise the arm on the other side, and continuing that motion. Being slow and deliberate. You can even add in some cross-lateral or contralateral movements, which means you're just crossing midline. So here's the midline of my body. If I cross midline, that as well is helping to integrate both of my brain hemispheres. So you could do contralateral in addition to crossing lateral. So there's just some tips on moving your body to help with your brain health. You can practice those on a daily basis as kind of like a wellness activity. You could also just do those exercises to help lay the foundation or prepare you for fine motor work or academic or vocational work. And they also might be beneficial and a therapeutic intervention that could be added to one's cognitive or physical rehab program. Thanks for watching.